Y'all apparently like my goofy ideas, because on the last one of these we did, I said if we hit 1,500 likes, I would do another out of position fantasy draft. And guess what? We hit it. So today, we are going to be doing another out of position fantasy draft, but I'm going to try to make this one fresh. I am going to try to not use any of the players I picked last time, which might be a challenge, especially for the first pick, but I think that'll make it even more fun. And how this is going to work is after the fantasy draft, we are going to work to make this team better by signing free agents and drafting players, obviously, but we also have to move those players to a new position. And I can't just do something lame like free safety to strong safety or like safety to corner. It has to be full on like tight end to quarterback or defensive line to offensive line. And if you enjoyed today's video, if we can get to 2,000 likes on this video, which I know we can do, we've been hitting that, I will do a third one of these and I will try to use even more different players, which might be a challenge at that point, but I will try. So be sure to drop a like. I know it sounds stupid, but it really helps out the channel, helps push these videos to more people. And we are very close to 30K, and as y'all know, I have a long special rebuild pause planned for whenever we hit that goal. So if you want to be an OG of the channel for when we inevitably hit 10 million subscribers, be sure to subscribe. And let me know any fun rebuild ideas y'all have down below. Can be a special type of fantasy draft, can just be a regular rebuild, whatever y'all want to see. If I pick your comment, I'll give you a shout out. If you care about that, just let me know. But without further ado, hold on, I remembered, so we gotta go snake draft. I almost forgot, but without further ado, let's see what pick we have. Okay, this is the highest pick I've had in, I don't even know how long, at least months. And what do we want to do? I think I already see what I want to do, actually. I mean, we really have a few options here. We could take Micah Parsons and move him to middle linebacker or safety, which would be kind of crazy, but those aren't premium positions or anything. We could do the same with Myles Garrett, but we could go Justin Jefferson and move him to, I don't know, tight end? I mean, I definitely wouldn't do that in real life, but he would still probably be a really good overall here. The last one I took Christian McCaffrey and moved him to receiver, so I don't want to do that again. I mean, really, I think our best option is going to be Micah Parsons here. Kind of a weird first pick, and it's arguable if this is out of position, because he used to play off-ball linebacker, but the same could be said for like most of these players that I'm going to be taking here today. They're all a decent overall at a different position because they have experience at that position. So let's go with Micah Parsons as our first pick. And I'm only going to show 5 picks here. I don't want to bore y'all to death. I'll take all of these picks, obviously, but I'm not going to show every single one. And who did I take at quarterback last time? So we ended up with Taysom Hill. I didn't give him a chance though because I wanted to develop Tyree Jackson, but he didn't develop. And I did get quite a few comments like, why didn't you start Taysom Hill, even though I literally explained I don't even know how many times. But I could make up for my sins and try Taysom Hill at QB this time. I'm not going to take him yet, obviously, but I might do that. And I want a good receiver, but who would be the best option? Ooh, Kyle Pitts. I don't know if I'm going to take him yet, but I want him eventually. Travis Kelce's good, but he's already 33. I think George Kittle might be the play here. He is another old-ish player at 29 here, maybe 30 in real life. Honestly, we have flexibility with him too. If we eventually phase him out at receiver, we can switch him to offensive line. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So let's go with George Kittle here. And I'm not sure if this is still a thing, but I know Tyler Lockett used to be a 99 overall running back in this game. He does still have pretty good rushing ratings, not the best carrying, which I don't know why. I don't even know the last time he's fumbled, but we are going to take him here. We're also going to go with Kyle Pitts, only 22 years old with X Factor. Obviously going to play him at receiver. And we're basically saying screw defense. I'm going to go defense with the next pick, but for the last pick I'm going to show, I think we're going to take Nico Collins and put him at tight end. He has really good spec catch and catch in traffic, has been very good for the Texans this year. So let's take him here with our last pick. But I'll make the rest of these, at least most of the rest of these, and we will see what the team's looking like. I'm excited for this one. I feel like we made some good picks. But here's a look at the team we ended up with, and we are one overall worse than the last out of position fantasy draft I did. We actually have a better defense than offense, which is kind of surprising to me. Actually, that kind of makes sense. But the difference between this team and the last fantasy draft I did is I think this team has a lot more upside. At receiver, I think maybe the player I'm most interested to see, you know, how they develop is Kyle Pitts. He's only a 76 at receiver, but again, of course, only 22 years old with X Factor. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know how Taysom Hill's gonna do. I hope he does well, but more than likely, we are gonna have to try to find a new QB. I hope not, because I don't know how we're gonna be able to do that. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. We'll just see how Taysom Hill plays. Tyler Lockett's a 97 at running back, though. Almost a 99. The O-line is pretty much the same as the last rebuild, but, like, who cares? It's offensive line. I mean, it's not the most entertaining position. The defense is really interesting, though. The corner group is very young and has a ton of potential. We have JOK, Drew Sanders, and Trenton Simpson, who's actually a higher overall in my rosters at corner than he is at linebacker. I mean, he's just so raw that almost makes sense. He's pretty much just an athlete, but it's still interesting. But the duo of Micah Parsons and Brian Branch at middle linebacker is kind of terrifying. I think that is our highest position group, like if you average it out between the starters. Well, that or I guess running back technically, but either way, I really like how this defense came out. There's some like maybe questionable moves like Ivan Pace from middle linebacker to outside linebacker, but I figure off-ball linebacker is different enough from edge that it's like a different position. I don't know. It's questionable, but we'll go with it, I guess. And like linebacker to strong safety, I don't know, but I don't want this team to be a 65 overall, so I had to do stuff like that. But I'm really interested to see how this team does in simulation, so let's get to the midseason point of year one, and we'll see what our record is. All right, well, we only have one win at the midseason point of year one. Who out here losing to the out-of-position team in its first year? The Cowboys? That would have been like my last pick, especially because they're insanely broken in this game, but like we're getting smacked by the Titans and Vikings, but we're beating the whatever, I don't know. I give up. But let's see how the team's developing so far. Probably not too different from the beginning of the year. I just want something to show here. Kyle Pitts is actually developing pretty quickly, already up to a 79. He'll be our number one receiver by the end of the year. Everything else is, you know, about how you would expect, though. Not too much development, but pretty good. I'm going to be really interested to see what our stats will be after the year, and we already have some players to re-sign. Anyone major? Oh, okay, yeah. You know, only our highest overall player, Tyler Lockett, no biggie. We'll go 3 years, 46 mil, and he takes it. Anton Harrison, who I put at tight end, I just drafted him because he had a dev trait, but 3 years, 3.6 mil, he re-signs. Frankie Louvu isn't interested, but 5 years, 64 mil, he takes it. And Bobby Wagner, that's pretty expensive. We'll go 2 years, 42 mil, though. He takes it. And I think that's all we're going to worry about for now. I'll probably re-sign like most of the rest of these guys. It's just not super interesting to show. But let's get to the end of the season and we will see what kind of record we finish with. Okay, that's actually, that's funny as hell. We finish 5-12 in year one, which is as good as the Chargers were in real life. The big difference here is we have an out-of-position team and they have an actual NFL roster. But apparently Madden thinks we are just as good. I don't know. Let's check out our season stats, though. It looks like our offense was, you know, not great. The worst in the league in points per game, but our defense was, you know, pretty solid. Taysom Hill, 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 19 picks. Nice, I guess, almost. I mean, if he threw something like 9 picks, this would be a pretty decent year, all things considered, but not great. Ooh, Tyler Lockett, only 3.6 yards per attempt, only 858 yards. The reason I picked the Chargers is because lately I've been seeing them do really well in this game. In simulation, at least, I've seen them win a lot of Super Bowls, so I was like, you know what? I haven't really used them for something like this, but maybe the offense isn't great here. I don't know. Kyle Pitts led the team with 800 yards, 4 touchdowns. George Kittle, almost 800 yards, 4 touchdowns. Nico Collins and Cordell Patterson didn't do much. The blocking was better than some of my, like, 80-something overall average offensive lines, so I love when that happens. Micah Parsons led the team with 121 tackles, 102 for Brian Branch, tackles for loss, 24 for Bobby Wagner, 16 for Frankie Louvu, and sacks, 16.5 for Bobby Wagner, 9 for Frankie Louvu, 5.5 for Ivan Pace, and interceptions, 4 for Drew Sanders as a rookie. He'll probably be up there for Defensive Rookie of the Year, 3 for JOK, 2 for Brian Branch and Jerome Baker. Brian Branch will probably also be up there, and then 1 for Ivan Pace and Micah Parsons. But let's check out yearly awards. MVP goes to Joe Burrow on the Bengals, Geno Smith on the Chiefs up there. This is Jameis Winston on the Giants. I mean, the last fantasy draft I did seemed a little more tame. This one's a little bit unhinged, I guess. Aaron Rodgers on the Falcons. I don't know. Offensive Player of the Year for the AFC goes to Nick Chubb, though. No Chargers. That's not really surprising. Defensive Player of the Year goes goes to DeMarcus Lawrence. Bobby Wagner at number 3 under a little bit of different circumstances here. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Downs, now on the Titans. Jonathan Mingo at number 8. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jalen Carter, now on the Browns. Brian Branch at 3. Ivan Pace at 5. Drew Sanders at 6. I'm not totally shocked we didn't win that. I just thought, I don't know, I thought there was a chance. My fault for getting my hopes up, I guess. But with the first year over, let's get into the offseason and we will see what kind of players we can add. But in the Super Bowl, the Lions take down the Titans 35-7. Interesting Super Bowl. I wonder what those teams look like. Who did they take? Oh, okay, the Lions got Patrick Mahomes. That makes sense. They also got Hassan Reddick, Laramie Tunsil, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. They're just building the Eagles almost with Patrick Mahomes and Laramie Tunsil. All right. And then the Titans have Aaron Jones, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Devin Witherspoon, Rashawn Slater. So they built the Jaguars with a few other players. Interesting. But in free agency, it is a decent class, but, well, there are like 2 good players in DeMarcus Lawrence and Kendall Fuller, but they have about 1 million offers and we don't really need them, I guess. I don't know what we would do with them, but there are some players we are going to go for. There is Nyheim Hines, who I think we're going to play at receiver. Jalen Hyatt, who we might play at running back, I guess. Tommy Tremble, who I think we're also going to play at receiver. I just want receiver depth. And then the rest of these guys, I'll figure out something for them. They're not major. They'll just be depth somewhere. I don't know if we're going to get Jalen Hyatt because we don't have a lead for him, but I just wanted to try. If we don't get him, he wouldn't be our starting running back anyways. He would be a good number 2, I think. So let's see if we can sign these players. And we get Nyheim Hines and Zaire Barnes. We don't get Jalen Hyatt, so that's tough. Actually, a ton of players sign. Usually in week 1 or like the first simulation, it's just like 1 or 2 players. I guess teams actually have money here, so that's probably the difference. But now we get everyone except for Tommy Tremble. Does he want to sign? Apparently not. All right, well, who cares? If he signs, cool. If not, I don't care. Let's get to the draft. But here in the draft, we pick at number 5. The Cardinals have the number 1 pick, and the Bears have 2 top 4 picks, because the game for some reason doesn't reset draft picks when you do a fantasy draft. I have no idea why, but it doesn't. Now, there's no point in even bringing him up because he's, well, maybe not. He's probably going to be gone by the time we get to pick, but Sheldon Carr looks insane. I'm going to hope A awareness, A man, A press, A zone, 4.37 speed, which is only great, which, yeah, that's fair. That's not quite elite speed, but only good acceleration. That's not amazing, but his coverage ability is so insane that we might have to take him. And I don't know where we're going to play him, to be honest, but if we can get a player that good, then why not? You know what I mean? How does Marcus Presley look too? He did not participate in the Combine or his Pro Day. Must have been injured. Looks like he was. The other guy looks better though. So let's skip to our pick and we will see if he's still available. It looks like he might be. Okay, he is. Now the thing we're banking on here, obviously, is him having a crazy dev trait and being like a generational player. I don't think he's quite generational because, you know, he doesn't have like any elite athletic traits. He has good ones, but not elite. And then his play rec isn't that good. But he's bad injury. He lacks discipline too. See, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If we're later in the draft, I feel like that's a good indicator of a dev trait, having both of those. But early on, especially for a generational player, I don't know. Or a potentially generational one. I don't know. I'm yapping too much. Let's just take him. Sheldon Carr sounds good. Hidden dev, 94 speed, 91 excel, 92 change of direction. I'm happy to see the hidden dev because in the last rebuild, I took like an 81 overall corner. I didn't know he was an 81 overall. I just saw normal dev and I was like, oh, he must not be good. But he was an 81 overall with normal, which seems kind of rare. So I'm glad that's not Sheldon Carr. And now, are any of the tight ends available? Okay, the one I wanted isn't, but let's see if there are any like really good athletes. Oh, we might have found one. Luke Perkins doesn't have the best short route or spec catch, but I really like the A awareness, A medium route, A catching. I don't know if we need to take him yet though. He's a 3rd to 4th round projection. Some of these D linemen look good, but I'm just like, where are we going to play them? Because we can't play him at outside linebacker. We can't play him at defensive tackle or defensive end. At middle linebacker, I don't think they would be that good. And we already have a ton. Like, they look good, but there just isn't really anywhere for us to play them. Let's see if there's a good cover linebacker we could play at safety or corner. Forrest Gay, what a name. He has elite speed. And then there's Benji Moore. Both of these guys look pretty good. Again, they're not supposed to go until later though, so I'll wait. Morris Walford looks kind of nice too. He would be a good tight end. He has really good jumping. We don't need tight end, but this is another guy where it's just like, I have a plan in mind for him and I think he would be really really good at that. There is also Lamar Griffith. He's faster. I don't know. Well, Morris Walford has a few more A's. He has A short route and A spec catch. Let's go with Morris Walford. Hidden Dev, 95 jumping, 75 strength. I hate that haircut. It's something. Was that the guy I wanted? No, I think that was a different tight end. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I think the one I wanted was... Wait, was that the one No, it was Luke Perkins. Okay. 4.58 speed, which is pretty good. Is there a faster... Well, obviously there's a faster tight end, but what do the faster tight ends look like? Oh, they're like UDFA guys, or they're just not here. There's Ben Jones. Ooh, wait. Ben Jones looks kind of crazy. And then who's the other one? Matthew Jones. Okay, another Jones. His ratings aren't as good. He has a deep route, but I don't know. For the last pick I'm going to show, I'll take all these, obviously. Let's go with Luke Perkins out of Colorado. Looks good, so let's take him. Another hidden dev, 87 speed, 91 excel. He might even start for us year one. I think he will, so that's a good pick. You know what? This wouldn't have been a bad draft if this was just straight up it and we didn't have to move any positions, but we actually did really well. So Sheldon Carr was only an 80 at corner, which is like the lowest I could have possibly seen him being. He actually doesn't go down much at linebacker. He's still a 77. Now, I don't know if we want to play him at middle linebacker or outside linebacker. I guess it would end up being the same either way. He's the same overall at either position, just he's not going to show up on the depth chart at middle linebacker, so I don't know. Morris Walford is only a 74 at tight end. He's actually a 77 at running back, which, you know, we can find other running backs pretty easily, but still interesting that he's higher there than at tight end. He was a 73 at receiver, went up to a 77 at running back, only a 74 at tight end, but still went up, I guess. Luke Perkins is a 67 at receiver, was like a 74 at tight end. Not the best route runner in the world. He has pretty good medium route, though. Ben Jones was actually the better tight end. He was a 76, only goes down to a 70 at receiver. This dude looks really good. He was a crazy steal even at receiver. And then the last picks or whatever, Xavier Pickens was actually a 74 at tight end. I moved him inside to guard. If you're noticing a theme here, I like to take tight ends in these because they have good flexibility. You can put them at offensive line if they're a good enough blocker. You can put them at receiver if they're fast enough and good enough of a route runner. I guess like Matthew Jones too. Okay, now we have too many receivers. I need to stop after this year, but Matthew Jones also looks pretty good. He was actually the fastest. Pretty bad route running. He actually has pretty good deep route. Anyways, pretty good draft, and let's get into year number 2. But here's a look at the team heading into year 2. It's a little different, I guess, than last year, but it is mostly the same. We're just trying to slowly develop it. Hopefully there are better free agents this year, though, that a million teams aren't interested in. But, you know, we definitely have a few new starters on offense, like Ben Jones, like Xavier Pickens. Wolford even might get a little playing time, but for the most part, the offense is about the same, just developed. And then the defense, I guess the same deal. It is almost exactly the same, just with Carr now at linebacker. Hopefully he has better than just star dev, but I don't know. It's hard to say. He hasn't developed it all yet. Usually if a player has like X factor, if they're getting okay snaps in the preseason, they'll go up like 1 or 2 overall, even if it's only like 100 and something snaps. But I guess that depends on position and all that, and your XP sliders and whatever. But for me, at least, that's usually the case. So he probably doesn't have any better than star, but I hope he does. But again, we should develop a ton throughout the year. And I think next year at the beginning of the season, I'm going to switch a lot of the players around to new positions. We'll see. But let's get to the midseason point of year 2 and we will see what our record is. I'm going to be honest, we might be 0-7 this year because there's always a down year in Madden simulation. It's like coded in or something, but we'll see. Oh my God. Are the Raiders really about to not keep Antonio Pierce as their head coach? I thought they were insane for letting Rich Bisaccia go and going with Josh McDaniels. I didn't think Josh McDaniels was that good. I figured he was carried by Tom Brady for like his entire career, but it looked like they found a good interim to potentially be their future head coach and they let him go, Rich Bisaccia. I think they're about to do that again with Antonio Pierce. Whatever fucking reason. I don't know. The Raiders are something else, man. I don't know if they're ever going to be good again at this point. We'll see. Okay, well, never mind. We are actually better at the midseason point this year at 3-4. I mean, I guess it's hard to be worse than what, 1-5 I think we were last year, but I'm kind of surprised we're not worse because like I said, there's usually a down year in simulation. Now let's see if we have any dev traits revealed. I guess, okay, Pickens only has star. That's actually really surprising. Usually the late round all-around blocking tight ends, as y'all know, if you've seen one of my videos before or just have played franchise, a lot of the time they'll have a really good dev trait. Apparently not here. Ben Jones isn't revealed yet, which is a little surprising. And Carr, never mind. Sheldon Carr has X Factor. Okay, he has 34 what? I didn't know you could have injury that low. I'm gonna be honest. I never really checked the injury stat, but is there any player in the base game that has injury that low? That's insane. I don't know. Either way, we're looking good. Thankfully, we have injuries off here, because if you are an injury-prone player, I don't think linebacker's necessarily the position you want to be playing. But who are we gonna have to re-sign this year? George Kittle, Jerome Baker, definitely some more important players, but nobody that's like too stressful, I guess. I don't know what the word is there, but 3 years, 34 mil for George Kittle. Do you want to take it? Yes, he does. Jerome Baker, 5 years, 51 mil. He doesn't take it. Brian Brzee is kind of just a backup, but he's a good backup. 3 years, 7.2 mil. I almost said 72 mil. I'm glad it's not. Ivan Pace, 6 years, 49 mil. He takes it. Jamian Sherwood doesn't resign. And then I'll just worry about the rest of these. Oh, actually, we have Taysom Hill. How's he been doing this year? Okay, much better. Only 1,300 yards, but 11 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Better completion percentage too. Better yards, a little better yards per attempt. So I'll resign the rest of these guys, and we will see how we're doing at the end of the year. Okay, well, never mind. Maybe this was our down year. We only finished 4-10. Something weird, though, is our last win, or yeah, I guess our last win came in the last week of the year against the 49ers, 27-20. I don't know why we beat the 49ers. I guess it's not the real-life 49ers here. They have a different roster, but, I mean, they're pretty good at finding players that wouldn't really be great on other teams and, you know, making them good on their teams, especially on offense because of their scheme, and they're the best at running their own scheme. But yeah, that was literally the only game we won in the second half of the year. The only one. Let's check out our stats, though. Taysom Hill, still a lot of interceptions, but 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, and yeah, 21 picks. Not a great completion percentage. Tyler Lockett was better, but still only 3.9 yards per carry. At least he had 1,000 yards, though. George Kittle had 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. Nico Collins, 800 yards, only 4 touchdowns. Ben Jones, as a rookie, though, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. We'll take that. Only 700 yards for Kyle Pitts, though. I wish we would use him more. I'm realizing I don't really like this offensive playbook. Unless we're just bad because, like, you know, the offensive lineup's bad. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. The tackle duo wasn't great, but that shouldn't be a surprise because, you know, it's a tight end and a fullback. Our best lineman was, thankfully, our highest overall one in Xavier Pickens, at least. He's actually starting to look like a lineman, I guess. I mean, his blocking stats aren't too bad. Getting close-ish to a 70 overall, we'll take it. And then on defense, Micah Parsons led the team with 107 tackles, 103 for Sheldon Carr as a rookie. TFLs, 21 for Bobby Wagner, 16 for Kingsley Enagbare, 13 for Sheldon Carr, and 10 for Frankie Louvu. A ton of TFLs. And then sacks, 17.5 for Bobby Wagner, 14.5 for Frankie Louvu. Who would have thought that would be an elite pass rush duo? I mean, Bobby Wagner is a good blitzer, and then Frankie Louvu is straight up just a good pass rusher. So that's why it's a little questionable, but we have him as a 3-4 defensive end when he's 6'3", 235. So I would definitely say that's out of position. But as a Seahawks and Washington State fan, this does make me happy. I'm not going to lie. And then interceptions, 4 for Micah Parsons, 2 for JOK, and then 1 for 4 players. But MVP goes to Lamar on the Cowboys. No Chargers, obviously. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Aaron Jones. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Bobby Wagner. We'll take it. Now, will he retire is the question, which I hope he doesn't. I didn't even think of that. If he does, we might be kind of screwed, though. I'm not going to lie. Frankie Louvu all the way down at 10. That's really surprising. He was really good. But Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Miles Davenport for the Bengals. Ben Jones at number 2. I didn't think he would win it, but I didn't think he would be that close, so I'm kind of disappointed now. Oh my god. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jimmy Browning for the Patriots. We get number 2 there again. I mean, with Carr, I don't care as much because he already has X Factor, so it's whatever, but of course we get number 2 for both. And Benji Moore, I forgot to take him. Well, I didn't forget. He was just gone by the time I was going to draft him, but of course he was up there as a rookie. So I'm definitely thinking we're going to try a new offensive playbook. Do we want to go with a pass-heavy one, though, or run-heavy? I guess it doesn't really matter as long as we can pick a good one. I think that's the bigger priority here. You know, I rarely use the Cowboys offensive playbook, because when I do use it, it is usually kind of bad, but it works for the Cowboys, so maybe I should try it. I don't know. Should we? I guess we will. What kind of playbook do we even, or scheme at least? Is run and shoot our best? I mean, I don't know how that's going to work with the Cowboys playbook, so I don't think I'm going to do that, but also for West Coast zone run, we're a 17% fit, so I don't think that's that's great either. But let's get into the offseason. Let's see if we hit any dev ups, and we'll see what we want to do with the team. And this year, the Falcons do actually win the Super Bowl 35-14 over, did I say Falcons? I meant Titans. The Titans win the Super Bowl over the Falcons, which are two usual teams in the Super Bowl when they actually have decent rosters. The Titans have really good playbooks, and I never think to use them, but I might have to sometime. Okay, and I actually moved some things around here on defense. So we moved Micah Parsons to free safety, which he actually goes up in overall there from linebacker, which is really stupid. I think he would be a terrible safety in real life. Even at like off-ball linebacker, he's not that good in real life. I mean, you know, I thought a couple years ago it was weird they still like half used him there and didn't just move him to full-time edge. Thankfully they did eventually. But yeah, anyways, I don't know why he's a good overall at safety, but he is. And then we moved Carr to middle linebacker because, I mean, that's pretty much what he was playing anyways. And then we moved Jerome Baker to corner. Was this worth it? Or did this downgrade the team? I don't know if this was worth it, because if you think about it, Parsons went up 1 overall from middle linebacker to corner, or middle linebacker to safety. Carr went up, I guess, 1 overall from outside linebacker to middle linebacker, so that's +2. I think the part that isn't worth it is Jerome Baker to corner. That's a -5 drop. I think we'll put him back to safety, I guess. I mean, we'll still need a corner now, but that's fine. And okay, the good news is Bobby Wagner went up to superstar dev, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not really going to matter much at this point because he's what, 35 here probably? Yeah, 35. It's still cool either way, but unfortunately, Taysom Hill retired. So we are going to need a new QB. Matthew McDonald was just a practice squad guy, so can't really do much there. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to do at QB now. Hopefully there's a good UDFA that we can put at QB. That's really the only thing I can think of. Or hopefully when we're drafting players, maybe if I want to sacrifice like where I'm planning to play them, maybe I can sacrifice that and put them at QB if they look like a decent passer and have a dev trait or something like that. I don't know. Or just UDFAs. We'll have to figure it out. Also, Nico Collins got star dev. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know how much that matters, but it's cool. But this is a big offseason, obviously, because we need a QB. But we'll try to re-sign Jerome Baker. I hope we can. 5 years, 57 mil, and he does take it. Okay, cool. Jamien Sherwood, he's decent. He's a 76, 4 years, 18 mil, and he doesn't take it. I mean, the tag's probably pretty expensive. Yeah, no, I'm good. Cam Smith, he doesn't take it. Whatever. He doesn't get literally any playing time. Patrick Ricard would be cool, but he doesn't take it. And then Max Williams, he is our starting left tackle. He isn't good, but he does resign. So these three, I mean, I guess we can try to re-sign Sherwood and Ricard if I feel like it, but let's see who's available in free agency. Hopefully better than last year. Okay, it's worse than last year. Cool. Awesome. Okay, well, it looks like there's some decent QB options, maybe. Devon Achan's actually a decent passer. Did he, like, throw a pass in college or something? I don't know. And then there is Johnny Hecker, who, you know, I guess is famous for being able to do fake punts because he's a pretty decent. I don't know if he was like a high school quarterback or what. I can't remember, but hopefully one of those two are decent. If not, then I don't know. We'll try to find somebody that can play QB. But these are the players we're going to go for. It's going to be Devon Achan and Johnny Hecker, like I said. Jamien Sherwood, Deion Jones to maybe either play safety or corner. One of the two. Patrick Ricard, which we'll try to bring him back. Dorian Williams and Ko Keefe. So hopefully we can sign all these players. I do have plans for them. I don't know how good they'll be necessarily at those positions, but we will find out. Let's see if we can sign any of these players. And we get Devon Achan, Johnny Hecker, Deion Jones, Dorian Williams, and Ko Keefe. I think that's literally everybody, right? I also wanted Devondre Campbell. It looks like he goes back to the Packers here, but there were teams that had like full interest bars or whatever, so we couldn't get him. But Jamien Sherwood, literally the two players that were on our team, they still don't want to sign, and they still, whatever. They'll be backups anyways. Who cares? So I'll put those players we signed at their new positions, and we will see what we can do in the draft. But here in the draft, we of course pick at number 1, and I don't know what we're gonna do with this pick. The player I'm leaning towards the most is Matthew Shelton, but I just don't have a vision for him. I don't know where we're gonna play him. I mean, he looks good, but I mean, the only thing I could think of is like defensive tackle. I guess that's different enough from edge, but I mean, it's not really out of position. It might just have to be close enough though. There's also Sean Johnston. I haven't really looked at him, to be honest. He looks all right, but again, where are we gonna play him? I mean, tight end, we don't need tight end. Running back, we don't really need running back. Maybe a number 2, but I'm not taking a number 2 running back with the number 1 overall pick, no matter what the situation is. This might be crazy crazy, but Clay Sweet looks pretty good. Again, I don't know where we're going to take him, but just look at these ratings. We're either going to play him at tackle or receiver, which is an insane thing to say. But yeah, those ratings are crazy. So let's go. I mean, he might have normal dev, to be honest with you. I hope he doesn't, but he could. But let's go with Clay Sweet out of Boise State. Thankfully, he has hidden. I thought that was normal at first for some reason. When it first loaded up, it looked brown to me. I don't know why. Probably a tight end. He also doesn't really look like his player card. I mean, he looks like an elf, his actual face. That's interesting, but I don't know. We'll see where we want to play him. And now I genuinely have no idea what I want to do. We might just go like best player available and hope they can play somewhere else, or another tight end and hope they can play O-line. Ooh, this guy actually looks kind of crazy too. Josh Buckner out of Oklahoma State, 4.49 speed with great strength too. I mean, again, I don't know where I'm going to play him, but he looks good, so let's take him. Oh, really? He only has a normal dev? I mean, that kind of sucks, but he looks good either way. All right, y'all have seen enough of me picking tight ends. I'll make the rest of these, and we'll see what the team's looking like heading into what could possibly be the final year, depending on how we do. Okay, well, this is definitely a little more of a questionable draft here, but it helps the team. I feel like it's a better draft than it looks because we needed offensive line upgrades, and I guess that's what we got here. Clay Sweet's only a 62 at tight end, or at tackle though. He was an 80 overall tight end. He was a very good tight end, and he was only like a 67 at receiver, which really surprised me. But he is a good enough lineman to where I think he'll start, I hope. Josh Buckner, another tight end, he's at least a 67 receiver. He's whatever. He was like a 75 overall tight end or something. Derek Goodwell, he was a receiver. I moved him to tight end. He looks good. Matt Harvey, another tight end, shocker. He's not that good at tackle or at guard, honestly. He's not really going to contribute much. And then we got a couple more potential offensive line starters. You'll never guess what position they were. So yeah, this draft was not as good as last year, not really close, but we got what we needed, I guess. So let's get into year 3. And we are going to give up a 4th round pick for Jelani Wood. Now, maybe you can think what I'm going to be doing with him. There's something where, we had a retirement and we weren't exactly able to replace it very well. Jelani Woods formerly played this position. He's going to be our quarterback. Now, he's not the best. He's a 47. However, that is about 47 overall higher than our next closest player. I mean, not actually, but we don't have much at QB outside of him. And at least he has star dev. I mean, there's something to work with there, maybe. He's only 26, but yeah, Johnny Hecker's only a 24. Alec Ingold is actually decent at QB, but we'll just move him back to the O-line. So I think Jelani Woods is legitimately our best option at QB by a decent amount. But here's a look at the team heading into year 3. We're probably going to do another year. I feel bad, like, just ending it before there's any, success. But with a rebuild like this, I don't know if we're going to get success. This is more just like showcasing, it's kind of funny to do stuff like this, and you can put these players at these positions and they'll do, pretty well, rather than, having a good record. It is possible to get a good record with this team, so I'm going to try, but if we're like really terrible this year, then I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, we're 76 overall. We're better than last year. We were worse for a second. We were a 73 before we traded for Jelani Woods, so I'm glad we got him. But this year, especially the offense, we should really develop. I mean, the O-line is all young, 3 rookies and then 1 second-year player, and that's been our lowest overall position for the rebuild, so that should be at least better by the end of the year. So I'm really interested again to see if we can do better this year. I know I say I'm interested every year, but I mean, it's an interesting rebuild. That's just what happens, kind of. But I'll rearrange the specialists. It honestly doesn't look too bad, but I'll rearrange it a little bit. And let's get to the end of the year, and we will see what our record is. Okay, well, maybe this was our down year, because we had one of the worst defenses in the league. For yards per game, it wasn't terrible, but we allowed the most points for a defense this year. I'm not gonna go crazy in this offseason, but we will do one more year. Jelani Woods threw 39 interceptions. I mean, decent amount of touchdowns with 25, but I think the interceptions outweigh it just a little bit. We didn't rush much all. Is this what the Cowboys playbook is light? Only 692 yards and 3.3 per carry for Tyler Lockett. I think if we got a running back who does really well, it might help this team more than you would think. So even though Lockett is one of our highest overall players, we might move on from him just because he plays like shit, which is, the most EA thing of all time. Really high overall player. Our highest overall player plays like one of our worst. So that's cool. Kyle Pitts, almost 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. Ben Jones, almost 1,000 yards, only 2 touchdowns. George George Kittle was all right. Nico Collins was decent. Clay Sweet was pretty bad as a rookie. Honestly, our whole line wasn't great. The only one who was pretty great was Xavier Pickens. Floyd Payton wasn't terrible. I've seen worse from 90 overall tackles. But Sheldon Carr led the team with 131 tackles, 113 for Brian Branch, tackles for loss, 14 for Wagner in probably his final year, 13 for Tuli Tuipulotu, 10 for Frankie Louvu, and sacks, 12.5 for Louvu, 9.5 for Wagner, 5 for Tuipulotu, and then that's about it. And then Sheldon Carr led the team with 4 interceptions, 2 for Brian Branch, and then 1 for a few players. Sheldon Carr did well, though. I'm almost wondering if we should move our defense back, though, to where we were. Because the first year where I switched everything around, even though the overalls are better, it played worse. Maybe middle linebacker is super important in this game. I mean, it's not in real life, but it also kind of is if you have, like, the coach type linebacker, like a Bobby Wagner, like one of those veteran types. I don't know. But MVP goes to Justin Herbert on the Bengals. No Chargers, real shocker there. Surprised Jelani Woods wasn't up there with his 39 interceptions. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Justin Herbert. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. Sheldon Carr at number 9, we'll take that. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Trevor Bishop for the Broncos, of course a division rival. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Greg Craig. Always love the players with that name. There's one every once in a while. Amazing name. Sometimes there's even Craig or like Grag, like Gragg. I see that sometimes. There's also, what are some other ones that are like the same name twice? I don't know. They show up every once in a while. It's fun when they do. But let's get into the offseason for what will be the final year of the rebuild. But in the Super Bowl, the Lions win another one, 28-25 over the Chiefs. And it looks like, okay, our team's not actually a 77 overall. I wish it was. That's just a, well, wait, is it? Oh, it is. Okay, never mind. I'm glad it is. And Bobby Wagner didn't retire somehow. I mean, he's down to a 75 overall now, but somehow still here, just like me for real. And something fun is both of our tackles have X Factor. Clay Sweet, he has X Factor, and then Floyd Payton has X Factor. What are their X Factor abilities? Oh, they don't have any. Are they not high enough overall? Oh yeah, I guess unlocks at 75 overall. Oh yeah, and they don't get X Factor abilities because they're linemen, but maybe they can eventually get superstar abilities by the end of this. I don't know. We'll see. But enough wasting time. Let's get into the offseason and we'll see if there's anyone we can sign in free agency, but more than likely we'll just see what we can add in the draft. There could be some free agents though, assuming we have like any money. Okay, well there are a few players we have to re-sign, but honestly, I'm good. These are all just backups. I'll re-sign Anthony Nelson because I don't think we have enough players on the D-line anymore. We were already very thin, but everyone else can go. I know Kyle Juszczyk was our starting center, but he wasn't very good. At least these last couple years. And who do I even want to go for in free agency? I think a good linebacker to maybe play at corner would be nice, but honestly, I don't know if any of these guys would be high enough overall to play at corner. Ooh, there's this Byron Dawson guy at middle linebacker. He would play, I guess he would have to play D-line for us. He just has really good finesse moves. I mean, outside linebacker's a little too similar to middle linebacker. I mean, it's not really in a 3-4, but I mean, it's still linebacker, so I don't know. I mean, is it though? It's really arguable. All right, I'm surprised the Jags took this, but we're trading Tyler Lockett and a second-round pick for Deebo Samuel, who is, I guess, gonna replace Tyler Lockett. I guess we'll move here. For them, Tyler Lockett would probably make a lot more sense as a receiver. Yeah, he literally won't play at running back, so I guess this is, I don't know. Tyler Lockett might have regressed so much that he's probably not even gonna be that good of a receiver anymore. Yeah, he's still an 82, but yeah, that's an interesting trade for them. And obviously, Deebo Samuel's gonna be our new running back. Hopefully he can play better than Lockett did. That's just the big thing, is how will Deebo play? We can also restructure him. I should restructure more deals because we're kind of low on money. But what is Deebo's overall at running back? A 99. Okay, so he's a 99 overall, at least here. Will he play like one? I can almost guarantee no, but hopefully he plays well. But these are the players we are going to go for in free agency. It's an interesting group. We are going for some free agents, even though I said we might not, but we are going to. We're going to go for Kyle Duggar, Devondre Campbell, Antonio Gibson, Divine Diablo, Jabril Cox, and Byron Dawson. I don't even know if any of these guys are going going to be starters, but I guess you never know. They could be. That's the hope, at least. I almost wonder if this team would be better suited as a 4-3. I mean, we're kind of too deep now to change the scheme, but it might be. Honestly, I don't know if I have time to change the scheme. That's the problem, because I'd have to move every single player in the front seven. We'll just rock with the scheme we have. I mean, it works. So Kyle Duggar, Devondre Campbell, I already read all the names. Let's see if we can sign these players. And we sign everybody. Oh, okay, we sign almost everybody, except Kyle Duggar goes to the Dolphins, and Devondre Campbell's probably going to go to the Falcons, which I think was his original team, or was his original team the Cardinals or the Falcons? It was one of the two. I want to sign somebody, though, now that we didn't get Kyle Duggar. There isn't really anyone left, though, that would really be worth signing at all. Ooh, I think Romeo Doubs is actually a really good running back. I mean, we still have money left over. Maybe I could trade for someone else. That might be a good strat. What's like our biggest problem other than QB? Because I think Jelani Woods is the best possible QB that we can have on the team at this point. Honestly, I know we've tried to do a lot to fix corner, but we're still lacking a number one. We're kind of lacking a number one receiver too, but we might already have the best possible receivers. All right, I think I know who we're going to try to trade for. We are trading the number 2 overall pick for Fred Warner. Is that maybe a bit rich for a linebacker? I guess, but he is the best linebacker, so why not? For him, would I give up the number 2 pick for Fred Warner in real life? I mean, at least you're getting a guaranteed amazing player, but linebacker, I guess I would. And he's actually a 91 overall corner. I thought he would be like an 86. I'm not gonna lie, not a 91. So that's pretty huge. But let's get to the draft and we will see what we can do. Why are there so many players in these draft classes with the last name Epstein? Like, that's not great. I hope the Madden devs are on. I don't know if I can say that. Never mind. You know what I was gonna say. The game needs new devs. We'll say that. But here in the draft, we of course don't have a pick until the 3rd round. Oh, that is slow. That was weird. This shit was lagging. We might go with a linebacker to play at defensive end, which I think is a different enough position. I mean, this is an off-ball linebacker. Now, he doesn't have any pass rush. That's the problem. He's a pure run defender, so maybe he wouldn't be great, but to be fair, I don't know what else to do. He actually looks like a really good player. This guy might be a great overall, so let's take him. Hidden dev, 86 speed, 91 excel, 79 strength. Yeah, I think he'll make... I wish I could just play him at linebacker, to be fair, but I think he'll make a good defensive end, even though he doesn't have any pass rush moves. He'll just be a pure run defender. And let's see if there is a decent blocking tight end. Ooh, this guy's interesting. Trent Harris. He has F pass block. I think I'm okay. We might go with Andy Kovacs. He has elite strength, good blocking ratings, not A awareness, which kind of is important for the blocking type tight ends. I don't know if there's anyone better. There's Dan Watts. We might end up going with both. We'll go with Andy Kovacs first, and then that's the last pick I'll show. Hopefully he's decent. He has hidden dev. That's cool, but I will see y'all for the draft recap. All right, well, definitely an interesting draft. Dominique Rucker's good. He's surprisingly the same overall at defensive tackle. He's the same overall there as he is at linebacker, which I think is stupid. I feel like overall needs to take size into account, because there's no way someone who's 6'3", 233 should be as good at linebacker as they are at defensive tackle. There's just no way that should exist, period. I mean, I guess it can depend, but either way, he looks good. Andy Kovacs is solid. Dan Watts is fine, and then I tried something here with this last pick. Didn't work out. It said he had A awareness at 60. I was like, all right, maybe the awareness will carry his, passing stats. It didn't. He's a 12 overall. But let's get into the 4th and final year of this rebuild. But here's a look at the team heading into the 4th and final year of the rebuild, and the team is pretty good. Even on offense, which I thought would, drag our overall down a ton. I guess it is dragging our overall down, but it is a 76 overall. Like, it is not a bad offense. I mean, compared to the rest of the league, it's not great, I'm sure, but for what we're having to do here, it's pretty good. The O-line is looking a lot better, should develop even more throughout the year. Maybe some of them can even be close to a 75, which would be insane because they're tight ends. And maybe Jelani Woods can get close to a 60 overall, which might be a lot to ask for, but we'll see. I hope he does better this year, though. And then the defense with the addition of Fred Warner is looking very good at an 87 overall. Like, this is a legit good defense. Also, hopefully Deebo Samuel can do better than Tyler Lockett was doing for us. He's at least a better overall, but we'll see. So let's just get straight to the end of the year and we will see what our record is. But here we are at the end of year number 4, and I'm glad I did an extra year. But if you've seen one of my videos before, y'all know why we're here. If you haven't already, be sure to drop drop a like on the video. That's the most important thing you could do. It really helps out the channel. Helps push these to more people, and if we can get to 2,000 likes, which we've been hitting, I'll do another one of these. I might give it a little bit of a twist. I might do something similar instead of exactly this, so it isn't as hard, and so I don't have to do like as much to get even an okay roster. But yeah, let me know you want to see something similar by liking the video. I need to like go through all my videos and see which like goals we've hit to know which videos y'all want to see, because like I'll set a like goal, we'll hit the like goal, and then I'll do something different than what I said I would do. I don't know why I do that. It's not like an intentional thing. I'm just like, I just don't think of the fact that I said if we hit this like goal, I'll do this. I just do something. I don't know why I do that, but I'll make up for it. I'll go see what I haven't done. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. Trying to hit 30K. I'll do something special for that. Y'all have to let me know any fun long rebuild ideas y'all would want to see, because if I pick your suggestion, you'll get a shout out if you care about that. But anyways, enough yapping. Now on to more yapping. In year number 4, we finished 9-8 and just barely made the playoff. I checked the stats at the midseason because at the midseason we were 3-4, and I wanted to see if there was anything we could do to get better. We also put up 5 points in week 7, which I saw that at the midseason. I just didn't question, so I guess we got a field goal and a safety. But we went on a pretty good win streak here. We lost the last 2, but we were on a 4-game win streak at one point. We were, what, 9-6 at one point? Choked the last 2 games, but they were close at least. But yeah, I went to check if there were any like benches we could make at the midseason. I didn't bench anyone because everyone was performing decently well. Jelani Woods finished with Jameis Winston-ass stat line, but 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. Way too many interceptions, but way better than the 39 he had last year, so I'm definitely not going to complain too much. And Deebo Samuel was a very big upgrade. 1,562 yards in only 279 attempts, 5.6 per carry, 12 touchdowns. Damn. Kyle Pitts almost 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. George Kittle 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Ben Jones, I wanted to get more playing time than George Kittle. I don't know. He's actually developed pretty well though. He's up to an 81 overall. I mean, that's pretty good for someone that wasn't even a receiver to begin with. The blocking wasn't great. At the midseason it was decent, but our tackle duo, which are our 2 highest overall players, were probably our 2 worst. Well, Xavier Pickens was pretty bad too. Kovacs was whatever, and Hoover was really good at right guard. Almost joined the all-castration team. He was close. Sheldon Carr led the team in tackles again with 123 tackles for loss, 18 for Tuipulotu, 15 for Luvu, 10 for Ivan Pace, and sacks 15.5 for Frankie Luvu. He's been a monster in this rebuild. 14.5 sacks. God, every year. 9 sacks, 14.5, 12, 15.5. That's crazy. He's like legit amazing. I think I remember that from the last time I did this. Well, I think he was really good like 1 year and then just stopped playing well like at all, but he stayed pretty good here. And then 10.5 sacks for Ivan Pace, 8.5 for Tuli Tuipulotu. Interceptions, 3 for Brian Branch, 2 for Sheldon Carr, Fred Warner, and Drew Sanders, and then a few players. But MVP goes to Lamar Jackson once again, now on the Cowboys. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Devontae Adams on the Ravens. For some weird reason, I could see that. Maybe because they just signed like every old receiver. I don't know, but I could see that for some reason. Deebo Samuel at number 8, Kyle Pitts at number 10. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. Again, Frankie Luvu at number 4. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Tyler K for the Ravens. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Marcel Edison for the Jags. I want to see, okay, no, Jelani Woods wasn't up there for best QB. That would have been fun if he was, though. But we have a first of many scenario here before we probably lose to the Bengals. At least we made the playoffs with this team. But we will go play it cool, y'all know me. And let's simulate this game out against the Bengals. And unfortunately, the Bengals end our rebuild. But hey, this was a lot of fun. We built a pretty good team by the end of this, all things considered. I mean, it at least compares to the actual NFL teams that aren't doing a stupid challenge here. So I would say this is a success, if I could speak. Also, how did Frankie Luvu not get a dev trait this entire rebuild? This game sucks. Over 10 sacks should be an automatic at least star dev. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, again, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. I already said all that. Y'all already know. But I might have a video coming out on the second channel tonight, either tonight or tomorrow morning. So go subscribe to the second channel. Turn on notifications there too, because my schedule over there is so inconsistent. So it'll make sure that you catch them if I do ever upload on there. But if you enjoyed this video, on screen now is probably another one from me. Feel free to click that if you want to. But thank you all so much for watching. And with that, I will see y'all again in the next video. Goodbye.